Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining me live. I have Facebook right here and Instagram right here. So I'll be looking at this screen because we're going to be using this recording on Facebook, but I wanted to go live before my Instagram peeps. How are you guys? Anyway, I repurposed these episodes for the podcast, so I'm just going to do a little intro and I'll do a little outro at the end, but I'll go ahead and stay for questions. So welcome to the Spark Show. In this episode, I'm going to be talking about how to create content at home. Now, a lot of us have had to be extra creative about creating content because a lot of us are staying at home, staying safe. So let me know in the comments if you have found it difficult or challenging to create content right now. I know a lot of you guys that are watching or listening are content creators and you want to create content, but some of the times, that sometimes it's a little challenging, right? So Jade is here, Dana is here, Kai is here on Facebook. Say hi on Instagram if you are watching. Okay, so today I want to talk about how to create content at home and how to be extra creative because sometimes it's a little difficult to do this right now. So you are already creative, but right now you may not have access to the things that you were able to before, right? Maybe you were going out, you were going to events, maybe you were working with a photographer. So I wanted to give you guys some ideas on how to help you get extra creative with your content. So the number one thing I wanted to mention was repurposing your content. So I've been doing this for months now and it's worked perfectly for me, right? That's posting old photos. So I don't know about you guys, but I have about 40,000 photos in my camera. Why? Because whenever I'm out somewhere, I would take multiple photos knowing that I'm going to repurpose it later on. And so I want you to also do this, not just now when we're staying home, but all the time, and keeping in mind when you're shooting to take a bunch of photos so you can use them later, not just for the day of, not just for that time. So go through the your camera roll, and see and take a look at all the videos that you can possibly use moving forward. And I like to use hashtags like Motivation Monday, Travel Tuesday, Throwback Thursday, Flashback Fridays. You can basically pretty much plan out all your content just by repurposing old content, right? And so that is one of the ways that you can do that. So let me know in the comments, have you done that before? Let me know if you have already started repurposing, if you're already looking at your camera roll. It's kind of nice when I look at my camera because there's so many trips I've taken and photos that I didn't get to post before. And so I think it's kind of fun to kind of reminisce on those moments. I was looking at my camera roll the other day and I was like, talking to my husband, I was like, can you believe this was 5 years ago or 4 years ago and I never posted this photo while we were hiking? And it's a fun experience, I think, not just for creating content, but just to reminisce and kind of look back. Yes. So Stephanie says that's what she's doing. Tanya, yes, for sure. We have so many photos. I don't know about you guys, but I've taken so many photos, and really if I just go through them, I favorite them on my camera roll, and then I go back and do a new edit, and then I just post them in my Planoly. We teach all of this content planning inside the Spark Society, so my members, you guys know who I'm talking to in the comments, using Spark Social and using those captions and just finding those old photos that you could still use. And remember, even if we're not staying at home, you should still repurpose old photos. Why? Because we have so much content and no one's gonna look back and scroll down to 3 months ago and be like, oh, you posted this photo already. Everyone already forgot it. I feel like if I repurposed and reposted all my photos from the last 3 months, right? Like I would probably be able to have a lot of content, probably a year's worth of content, right? And so making sure that you are being smart about creating content and being able to repurpose that content. For example, a lot of my holiday content that I did this last holiday was from the previous holiday and the previous holiday. So if you already have a set and all that stuff for different events and different seasons of the year, like fall, like you can use them for next fall, right? You can use them for next winter. It doesn't have to be that timely, and it doesn't have to be, oh, this is me doing this today. Especially now, like that is something that I think people are totally fine with because they don't expect you to be shooting outside, right? So Dana says, I worry about that, right? Well, who is worried about that, right? Probably not your followers. Your followers are probably not going to be like, hey, let me look at this photo and see if she's posted this before, or let me look at this shirt and see if she's worn it before, right? Sometimes we are focused too much on that fear of judgment and people judging us, which they are, by the way, and we can't control what people are doing. They're gonna judge us either way, but really it's not really about the photo as much as the message and the story and the value that you are putting in your post. So let's talk about number 2. So the second thing that you can do to create more content at home right now is to really be a producer and put your producer hat home and put your production hat on and pretend your home is a set, right? So for example, if you're a producer and they're like, this is the set you have to work with, this is what you have to work with, right? You can't complain. You can't be like, oh, I need another set. I mean, maybe if you're, a queen producer, fine. But let's just say this is what you have and this is what you have to work with. So do an audit of your home and the places that you have access to and start looking at where can you shoot, right? Where are the windows? Like you want to use the windows for lighting. So where can you shoot in front of the window? Can you rearrange your furniture? Can you rearrange your video space? So for example, this is my video set in my office. I actually don't work usually here. I usually work in front of the window. But my wall background is on one side. So when I have to do lives like this, I actually move around my desk, so then I have my background space, and then when I'm done I move my desk back around. So you kind of have to be creative, and if you haven't checked it out yet, check out episode 79 where I talk to photographer Ashley Taylor, and she is a photographer who has pivoted into creating virtual photo shoots. So you don't even have to hire a photographer to come to your house. She can actually do it. She does it through Zoom. So if you haven't watched or listened to that episode yet, listen to episode 79 with virtual photo shoots with Ashley Taylor. And lastly, as a producer, most producers keep calendars and editorial calendars. So start thinking about what social media days, holidays, events are coming up. Memorial Day is coming up, July 4th. Summer is coming up. So what are the content themes you can start getting on board with, right? In Spark Social, which our Spark Society members have access to, we have all of these calendars in there to help you start getting ideas of what you need to post coming up that's more trending and more relevant. And also, a lot of people are like, but I'm not doing anything at home. But I think a lot of us are trying new and different things at home, right? So a lot of people are starting to bake. People are practicing their instruments again. People are starting to pick up new hobbies. And really what you should be doing is documenting that and sharing it with your audience, right? Because why not? You're already doing it at home. Why not share it with your episode? Thank you, Christine. Yeah, Stephanie, that's episode 79 on the podcast for the virtual photo shoots with Ashley Taylor. And so that is the second thing. Be a producer. Start thinking of yourself as a producer. Think of the set that you have. And really, start being like, okay, this is what I have to work with. How can I make the most out of it, right? So someone on Instagram asked, which part of your house are you on? So I'm in my office. The window is right here. I usually have the desk face this way. When I'm on live, I like the background. So I have a special background for shooting my videos, and I turn my desk over. I also have a ring light that I use to do the lighting over here. It's not on right now because it's pretty bright. But yeah, so I have been looking at and testing different things in my office, but this one is the one that I think works best. So you really have to think about that and see which one works best for you. And Dana, I definitely recommend a ring light. I recommend all devices that are gonna, up level your video, right? Because like video and your content, because us as content creators, this is what we do, right? So if you can have the right tools, why not? So for example, I have a webcam on. Some people are asking like, how are your Facebook lives so clear? And it's because I use a webcam. This is a 1080p webcam that I bought on Amazon. And this phone right here, hi everyone on Instagram. It is on an iPhone 11 Pro. So, someone's asking, how do I find the podcast? The podcast is thespark.show, and just go to the website or Apple Podcasts, look for The Spark Show, and it's episode 79. So again, work with what you have. Don't wait until you can buy all those tools, because it takes time. Like I didn't buy all this upgrades right away. I started with one thing and then I started another thing. So really it's all about like upgrading little by little. I also have a mic that I use because I have the podcast, but really it's not about the tools that you have. It's a good to have, but if that's the one thing that's stopping you from starting and getting started, like don't let that stop you, right? Because you can do that later on and improve it as you grow and as you start monetizing, right? Like I don't recommend buying all this stuff unless you have the money, or you want to use your money, or you have the means to do it. If you're not making any money yet, so focus on growth and monetization first before you are, starting to invest. And I believe, I invested on this even before because, I had a job that paid for that. So it really depends on your financial situation. But if you can afford it and you can do it and you feel good about it, then by all means, go ahead, right? So now I want to talk about the third thing, and that is to take a walk. So my husband and I, we started taking a walk every single day at 6 o'clock. And really, even before this, I knew spots in my neighborhood where I could do a quick photo shoot. And the reason why, because sometimes brands have a quick turnaround. They're like, we want you to wear this fitness outfit, or we want you to, post with us in your kitchen right away. And so I already knew which walls around the neighborhood. Go look for walls, go look for alleys, look for empty streets now that there's less traffic. Sometimes there's still a lot of traffic in LA, but there's some places that now have more empty streets. Like I've seen some streets where I can probably take a photo in the middle and not get run over and have palm trees. So look around your neighborhood and start looking at places where you can shoot. And of course, obviously follow social distancing measures and be safe. We usually shoot around sunrise or sunset. I don't know if you guys have seen the last few sponsored posts I had on my Instagram with CBS and Activia. Those were all around our neighborhood. Those were shot with a phone, and those were around sunrise or sunset. Again, there's no need to have a professional camera with you unless you want it. You can use your phone, and now is the time for you to learn how to use these tools and edit if you can, right? So I'm going to sign off right now for the podcast, but I'll stick around for a question. Thank you so much for listening to The Spark Show, and I will see you in the next episode. All right, so we had some questions. Dana asked, any particular ring light brand? I just bought mine on Amazon, Dana. I think it's called Newer, but you can there's the Diva ring light. And I just bought the newer ring lights, and I bought it about like a couple years ago. So yeah, I think it was under $100 for the big one. But it's a great investment, and especially if you're doing a lot of videos, it's just, you know, it's just part of the thing, right? Stevie says, I need to get an iPhone 11. It's amazing. I really can't recommend it enough. This is the iPhone 11. Hello. Let's see. Put your questions on Instagram if you have any. I'm just looking at the Facebook questions. Yes, episode 79 with Ashley. Yes, Ray says we can be our own worst critic, and honestly, our followers don't even notice our repurposed content even from a month ago. No one's going to do that, right? Like if they are, they must have too much time on their hands and something else is going wrong, right? Like no one's gonna come and be like, you posted this photo on, you know, June 10th, 2019. Like they shouldn't even be going back that far, right? Yes, I have to remember. Stevie says, I had to remember that people don't pay that much attention. Like they look at it, they scroll through it, and they already forgot, right? So it's really ourselves and ours judging ourselves, and like, you know, it is like a fear of judgment and a fear of rejection. And so make sure if you're feeling that way to pivot and shift that, so that, you know, you're not stuck in that mindset. Okay, so Ray says those captions are so helpful. Yes, we provide done-for-you captions inside the Spark Society. So for those of you who are still having trouble being consistent, like we're trying to give you all the tools that we can possibly give you, but you still have to do the work. You have to put it in. You have to choose your photos. You have to put it in your scheduler and Planoly, right? But we try and provide you all the tools so that you can at least, you know, try and be consistent. Amazing. So I don't think there are any more questions. So thank you guys so much for joining me live today, and I will see you next time. Bye.